everyone. A viewer called Avery Spence left a comment on my recent video about dog owners masturbating dogs. And this is what they wrote. As a current dog owner, I can't agree more. The culture around dogs is disgusting. Dogs need to stop being bred. It's extremely unethical to the animal. I love dogs, and because I love dogs, I will never own one again, because I cannot contribute and support the damage dogs cause to the environment and the abuse pet dogs will suffer. I will not get rid of my dog. I will simply provide her with the best life I can until she passes away and not get a dog ever again. This impressed me for a number of reasons. My response to the comment was, if only all dog owners were as rational as you are. Here's a dog owner who is willing to consider and appraise alternative points of view. It also made me think of the many ways that dog keeping has changed over the years. The main way that dog keeping has changed in recent years is that the dog has transformed from being a pet to being a profitable commodity, designed, shaped, and advertised to both create and feed a demand for dogs. In my video Rough and Puff, I compared the tobacco lobby with the dog lobby, both attempting to defend and protect a multi-billion-dollar industry, and both using similar tactics. The development of the dog as a commodity follows a similar trajectory to the development of any commodity, for example, the auto industry. In the early years of the auto industry, it was a niche, low-volume product owned by a very limited number of people who had the money and the leisure to buy it. As it slowly became more available, a demand was recognized, so there had to be ways of supplying that growing demand. It is claimed that the growing demand was supplied by a method inspired by Chicago slaughterhouses. Living animals went in one end and pieces of meat came out at the other, a kind of disassembly line. Reverse the process by bringing in parts at one end, putting these parts together in the factory, and driving out complete vehicles at the other end. Making cars using an assembly line process was usually associated with Henry Ford and the Model T car, but it was first used in car manufacturing by Ransom E. Olds, manufacturer of the Oldsmobile. Henry Ford used the method to such good effect that he reduced the production time of a Model T Ford from 12 hours and 8 minutes to 1 hour and 33 minutes. What has this got to do with dogs? Their gestation period cannot be shortened, but there are other ways to get them to produce more puppies. In order to meet demand and maximize profit, dogs can be mated more frequently with shorter rests between births, and puppies can be moved on from their mothers at earlier ages. Female dogs can be forced to have many more pregnancies and produce more puppies until they are no longer able. The justification for masturbating dogs is for artificial insemination, so that conception becomes more reliable and one male dog can produce many more offspring than it ever could do naturally. In order to meet the demand, many breeds of dogs have to experience repeated cesarean sections with all of the attendant complications and risks. These are the practices of puppy mills. They are assembly lines for dogs. The big difference between Model T Ford cars and dogs is that dogs are sentient beings that have feelings, have an understanding of the world, feel pain and loss. Dog breeders do these things and then use the concept of love to promote their commodity. Buy a dog and you are both showing and receiving love. Car adverts often used the concept of love to get you interested in buying their products. An early Chrysler one was drive equals love. Honda used it must be love. Volkswagen for the love of the car, and Toyota said, "I love what you do for me." Cars moved from being a niche product owned by few to being considered a necessity within the reach of everyone. It is the nature of increased production that there has to be product differentiation to boost sales. Car shapes changed. There were cars developed for different lifestyles and aspirations. New dramatic and exciting names were devised to tempt the purchaser into buying a car. The same things happened in dog ownership. Shapes of dogs changed over time. Pugs, bull terriers, dachshunds, chow chows, German shepherds, and many other dogs have changed shape over time to cater for human tastes and preferences with no regard for the health of the dogs. This is like choosing your favorite model of car. Just as every car buyer expects car models to be standard, dog owners also expect their dogs to have a standard appearance, with every English bulldog conforming to a type and looking like other English bulldogs. In order to create this standard look, breeders resort to inbreeding, mating dogs that are closely related, and therefore creating health problems for the dogs. This is not indicative of animal love. It is animal cruelty. Love of profit for the breeder and love of self on the part of the dog purchaser. Just as car owners want the latest model and want product development with new shapes, dog owners also want the latest models. Popular breeds of dogs change in each decade, with some dogs like Salukis and Afghan hounds shifting from highly desirable to unwanted. Others, like French bulldogs, move from relative obscurity to most desired in next to no time, and then are likely to fade into obscurity just as quickly. New types of dogs are invented to inject a bit of novelty into the equation. We now have cockapoos, pomskis, Yorkie poos, Dalmatian dachshunds, and labradoodles, for example, with more novelties being invented regularly to stimulate demand. This is what happens when you commodify an animal and disguise what you are doing by using words like adoption, rescue, and pedigree. We are overwhelmed by dogs, and it seems to be a never-ending loop of demand driving supply and supply methods, creating more demand, which has to be met with more supply, and on it goes. These are animals, not cars that can be recycled and made into something else when our use for them is over. Oversupply of dogs leads to strays, feral dogs, cruelty to dogs, dog sanctuaries, killing of dogs, misrepresentation of dangerous dogs, relocation of dogs within a country or into other countries. See my video, Stop Importing Pit Bulls into Canada, for an example. This apparently endless desire for dogs as commodities needs to stop before we can have a future that is dog-free. Only if we break the demand can we have a dog-free future.